Welcome back to the channel. We're with Jaime, the band leader of Mariachi ROJO. Jaime, tell us a little bit about how the band started. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background. Yeah. How did you get to Canada, and in particular to Winnipeg?
Thanks, Paco. I came to Canada because of music. So music is my life. I do other things, but music is a big part of it. Besides family, and then the other world that I do related to diversity and inclusion. But music is a huge part of who I am. So I came to Canada pursuing my Masters of Music at Brandon University. Brandon is a city, Paco, 2 hours away from the main city in Manitoba, which is Winnipeg. So Brandon is the second largest city, and they have a beautiful music program that's really well known. So when I was looking for a place to do my postgraduate degree in music, I ended up in Brandon, Manitoba. That's where I did my master's in classical piano.
And when was that? Like, was that recent or how?
No, that was, I arrived in Brandon 20 years ago, in January 2006. That would be 19, actually. Yeah. Oh. We were doing the math before the interview, but 19 years ago in January. So can you imagine moving from Costa Rica, which is tropical, is Central America, to the middle of Manitoba in the middle of January? It was,
It must have been...
Yeah, I was still in shock. 90 years later, yeah.
And how many Latinos were in Brandon back then?
Surprisingly, the population of Latin Americans and other immigrants was growing because of the plant there called Maple Leaf. So they're a meat packaging plant. That specifically is the largest pork packaging plant in Canada.
Okay.
It's a huge plant, and they were bringing a lot of people from countries like Honduras, Colombia, El Salvador, Mexico, but also Ethiopia, China, many different countries. So Brandon was changing, and I was lucky to be in the middle of that change.
Well, that community has grown recently quite a bit as well. Mm-hmm. And what brought you to Winnipeg afterwards?
At some point when I started, after I graduated, I started doing music and, getting involved in a lot of different events. And at some point, you need to look for a larger place. It becomes like, if you do things right and you work hard, you start playing the same events year after year. And then in order to grow and to find new fans and new goals, then you move to a bigger city. And that's what we did. And Winnipeg so far has been great to us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you also told us that you are very, very involved in the music and the music in general. That's very interesting. That's a topic that it's very interesting to you. What kind of bands have you founded and developed?
Yeah, the music world, and I'm going to call it from now the music industry. It's bigger than people know. So people think as a musician you play an instrument or you sing or you're playing a band, but there is so many sides to music industry. You can be a producer, you can be a tour manager, you can be a manager of a band, you can be a booking agent. And throughout the years, I have experienced some of those. So when you do it yourself and you have a band, you do the booking, you do the admin, you do the contracts, and you negotiate, and you promote, and you do the marketing. And so at some point, I realized I could do that for other bands as well. So in the city of Winnipeg, I've been the manager of El Leon and the Strangers, which is a really well-known band. They were nominated for a Western Canadian Music Award last year for a record that we did when I was working with them. Up until recently, I was the manager of another band called Son de Arranque. But my own bands that I have founded are Trio Los Laureles and Curubandé, which is the all-star salsa band in the city of Winnipeg, and the Mariachi ROJO, which is the newest, and I think that's the one that we want to spend more time with today. But the thing is, I experienced different roles in doing all of that, and so I could say I'm a multifaceted musician, because some people could dedicate themselves to performing and playing their whole lives, and they can be really successful at that. And some others, like me, we kind of do here and there different roles, and also enjoy and are successful in doing that. So.
And before the interview, you were saying that mariachis are very, very famous, well, all around the world. But I didn't know there were mariachis in Costa Rica. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's interesting, yes, because it's a very Mexican thing, but mariachi has become, a number of years ago, was declared World Heritage by UNESCO, like the UN organization. So everything, the outfits, the instruments, and the music itself, it's considered now World Heritage. We say that every city that claims itself to be a city has to have a mariachi. Right? There is no big city in the world without a mariachi band, and it's a tradition similar to salsa music. Everybody knows salsa, and they're staples of cultures, right? Like for example, if we talk about China, we need to talk about their food for sure, and we need to talk about many other things. But if we talk about Brazil, we're going to be talking about soccer for sure.
Or samba.
Or samba, right? So mariachi is a staple of Mexico, but it's also a staple of Latin American culture. And every bigger city where there is Latino population will probably have a mariachi at some point in their development.
For sure. I know there's mariachis in Vancouver, I even saw pictures during COVID. But when I looked up in the research and everything, I didn't see any mariachis here. So that was a great opportunity for you guys to start up.
Yeah. And I was telling you off camera the story a little bit. We used to play with a smaller trio, and in that trio we play a variety of Latin American music. All kinds of music from Mexico, but also from Peru and Ecuador and Cuba, and all that is really versatile. But many places we would go and they were really expecting a mariachi. So, we would focus on Mexican music for that gig. People would be really happy. And some people in Canada, of course, they wouldn't know the difference between the mariachi music and what a real mariachi is, because it's two different things. You can have mariachi music played by other band, like we were doing with the trio. But to be a true mariachi, you need a combination of factors. You need the authentic suits that are very traditional, you need the authentic instruments, and you need the repertory. Because the other thing is you might find people who dress up as a mariachi, but don't really play the music as it should be played. There is a tradition of playing the music, and there is a specific repertory that you're Mexican, so you know that you will be playing Cielito Lindo, you will be playing El Niño Perdido, you will be playing Guadalajara, you will be playing repertory that's representative from the mariachi history and heritage.
Yeah, and a lot of the instruments, we were talking off camera, they require certain specifications, or maybe the weather affect them. Of course, the suits as well. Yeah, they have to be very tailored to the person who wears it.
Yeah, it's a whole different world having a mariachi in Canada because of the differences in the context. Not only the weather, but how used people are to having a mariachi. As I said before, some people are still learning what a mariachi is, and they don't know that you're going to be in your suit, and they might be surprised. That's usually a nice surprise. But they also, I've seen mariachis that are amateur mariachis, maybe in other places in Canada, where they're using the acoustic guitar. The acoustic guitar has its metal strings, steel strings, and you shouldn't play that in a mariachi. So it's a little bit of it's not because you couldn't. It still could sound interesting and nice, but to really sound like a mariachi, you need the vihuela, you need the guitarrón, and you need violins, trumpets, and then the nylon acoustic guitar. Okay. Not the steel ones.
So for it to be authentic and real true to what a mariachi represents, right?
If not, you're going to notice the difference between being in Mexico and listening to a mariachi there, and then listen. So if you see a mariachi with a saxophone, for example, that's not...
Well, it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense, no. But you still see them in Canada, and that's nice too. It's part of the mix of cultures and multiculturalism. Things can transform. Like mariachi actually comes from a mix of the European culture with the Spaniards and the indigenous culture in Mexico, right? So it's a mix in itself, and it evolved. And actually, in Mexico, in different regions, I told you the standard format, right? Violins, trumpets, vihuela, guitarrón, and guitar. But in different regions in Mexico, they will also include a harp. And in other regions, they will include the accordion. So you could have those three different kinds of mariachi, one with harp, one with accordion, and one with just the standard instruments.
Okay. And we were talking about that you guys are really booked up, especially this weekend, because it's Mother's Day. So tell us a bit about how you guys play for different events.
Yeah, Mariachi ROJO, that's what we called, and I believe we're going to be showing some pictures and videos on this interview as well. We named it after the Red River in Winnipeg, so we're really, really proud to be the only authentic mariachi in Winnipeg. Again, Mariachi ROJO means mariachi of the Red River. We started doing bookings after we first got our suits last year in May, and it's been increasingly busy. This weekend is Mother's Day, so out of this interview, I have to go and do like 3 different serenades, we call them. So for the mariachi, there is a tradition that we call a serenade. Normally in Latin America, this can be really late or early in the morning, right? But here we do it anytime during the day, and we go and surprise people. So if you have a birthday, if it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, and, if you have an anniversary or you're proposing, that's like the usual kind of serenade that we do. We show up in our suits, we surprise, and we play these tunes that everybody loves. The other thing that we do is concerts. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a sold-out show at the Western Cultural Center that I think you were kindly sponsoring and that. But we're planning others in Brandon, and we're going to come back to the Western Cultural Center in December.
And I also saw you guys at the Cinco de Mayo event, which was great.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, I don't know, I couldn't explain, but it was amazing.
Yeah, thank you. We are really proud too, because we took the care of doing things authentically. And for us, playing for Mexican people, because they really know the tradition, right? And getting the feedback that they loved it, that it was really authentic. Some people crying, some people so happy to be there and to have a mariachi. My musicians in the mariachi, they were surprised because, we have people from different countries in mariachi. We have the best trumpeters in Winnipeg, and they also play with Dirty Catfish Brass Band, which is very well known here. So they're used to being famous with that band. They couldn't understand why we were playing our first gig and Cinco de Mayo last year, and we were already stars. Like, people were yelling and singing the songs and asking for more. And they were like, why are we famous already? We just started the band.
And another quick question. Can you guys play during the winter? Because, minus 30 degrees affect the instruments. How does that work?
That's, we were talking about that before as well. So, we adjust to the context here. If you were in Mexico or in Costa Rica, where I'm from, you play outside anytime. So here we cannot play outside during the winter, of course, because the instruments don't tune properly. They get damaged.
You will freeze your fingers.
Exactly. That's important too. But we adjust. So we can still surprise people. I was telling you stories about sometimes we go hide into a room or maybe the basement. We tune there, and then we come upstairs and surprise the birthday person in another room. So we play lots of serenades in the fall and winter as well.
Okay, thank you, Jaime. What other bands do you guys play for?
Yeah. Well, Mariachi is our newest, and right now it's the one that we're promoting really hard because it's new and we want people to know it. But for a number of years, I have worked with Trio Los Laureles, which is a smaller band that we use for smaller events or smaller budgets. As I was saying before, different repertoire is more versatile. We can play music from all over the world. And then the All-Star Salsa Band of Winnipeg. This is I'm always excited to talk about this band because I was able to get together leaders of other bands We've had other bands in Winnipeg for a long time that play Latin music, but this one I got all the leaders together, and together we created this all-star. So very quickly we are playing, for example, this year we're going to be playing the Winnipeg Jazz Festival, Back to 40 Festival in Morden, Zoo Nights in the Cinnamon Park. We're going to be playing the Fire and Water Festival in Lac du Bonnet, because how powerful this band became so quickly because of all these people, so much experience and so much musicality and rhythm.
Well, music is amazing. Latin American music is amazing. Stay posted to the events. I guess you're going to share them on your social media.
Yeah, you can go to, for Mariachi Rio Rojo. Just remember, if you don't know Spanish, translate Red River, and you get the Rio Rojo, and then just add the mariachi. You find Mariachi Rio Rojo on Facebook, Instagram, and then Curubande is the name of the salsa band, and Trio Los Laureles. All of those, you can find them in socials, for sure.
Perfect. So stay posted to their socials so you can see where they are, at what events they're playing. And thank you very much for watching. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you very much.
Eres el alma de provinciana, voy a salir de Rosario Plata. Al ordenar el centro de Dios, con su mano amiga de Dios, la pura tierra mojada.